Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. All right, NBA, the Heat beat the Celtics 4-3 in the series, 4-3. 103-84 was the score last night.
They wiped them. They wiped their ass with them 4-leaf clovers last night.
Yeah, which is crazy because nobody expected the Heat to go this far. So congratulations to the Miami Heat. They play the Denver Nuggets Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Again, congratulations. Now, Teslin Figaro's here. What up, Tez?
Good morning, DJ Envy, the Queen, Jess, and Charlamagne the Guy. Hey, girlie.
Now, let's get right into it. Let's talk DeSantis. He said he would push to repeal Trump criminal justice reform if elected.
Yes, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said Friday that if elected president, he would call on Congress to repeal the criminal justice reform bill called the First Step Act. Now, this bipartisan bill was passed in 2018, and simply put, it had two goals. One, to reduce the overcrowded prison population, and two, to provide incentives for people in prison to take recidivism reducing programs, which increases the likelihood that they would succeed upon their release and not return to prison. Let's listen to what he had to say. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Under the Trump administration, he enacted a bill, basically a jailbreak bill. It's called the First Step Act. It has allowed dangerous people out of prison who have now reoffended and really, really hurt a number of people. So one of the things I would want to do as president is go to Congress and seek the repeal of the First Step Act. If you are in jail, you should serve your time. And the idea that they're releasing people who have not been rehabilitated early so that they can prey on people in our society is a huge, huge mistake.
Oh, please. No, I mean, these jails aren't doing any rehabilitation to begin with. We call these facilities correctional facilities. They damn sure ain't correcting nobody. But Ted, what does it mean when he said it allows dangerous people out of jail to reoffend?
Yeah, let me be really clear. Ron DeSantis is a damn lie. This is simply not true. The only people that were eligible for the First Step Act credits were people who were already minimum or low risk people. They were already getting out of prison. So let's just be clear about this. This wasn't just allowing somebody to get out of prison. In fact,
so it wasn't murderers. It wasn't murderers and manslaughter cases.
It was already low risk or minimum people who were going to reoffend. So over 90% of people who go to, let's just be clear, even murderers, 90% of people, and I'm not talking about the First Step Act, I just want to be clear on some stats here. 90% of people that go to prison in our prison system get back out at some point. Everyone doesn't stay in there forever. So that's the first myth that we have to deal with, that people are going to get out at some point. The First Step Act was all about how do we prepare people when they get out. So this allowed people to actually have programs to say, hey, we're going to prepare you with what you need to give incentives to get the skills to be productive after release. So I want to be clear about that across the board. But these were low or minimum risk people to reoffend. I'm not saying low or minimum risk people on their cases. I'm saying low or risk to reoffend. But I want to be clear. Everybody gets out at some point. The majority of people do.
Gotcha.
Well, Tez, do you think the law should be repealed?
Yes, it absolutely should not be repealed. In fact, a lot of people argue that the First Step Act should have a First Step Act 2 because this one did not go enough. And again, people, there's always going to be somebody that gets out of prison and goes back to jail. But this was just an opportunity to give them, a chance to have a first step. I take this really personal, guys, because I partner with an organization to release a 10-part audio series on the Straight Shot No Chase on the Black Effect Podcast Network. It went to 500,000 incarcerated individuals that dealt with mental health, family adjustment, relationships with your parole. And these are the same type of programs that the First Step Act offers. It offers stuff on substance abuse, finance, trauma, family planning. So let me be clear on the record to say that Ron DeSantis is pro-reoffend. He is pro-reoffend because anybody that is against this First Step Act, that means you basically want people to get out of prison without any tools.
And I would ask Ron, I wonder, does he feel like the people that raided the U.S. Capitol should go to jail and stay in jail?
Absolutely. And he went on record, glad you brought that up, he actually went on record saying that he would pardon some of the rioters that were convicted. And just as a reminder, 5 people were killed, right, and 138 officers were injured. So he's totally okay with the rioters, getting an opportunity to get out of jail, but not okay with preparing people to have successful opportunities when they get out. So he is pro-reoffend. That's just what I'm calling. He's pro-reoffend.
And pro-mass incarceration.
Pro-mass incarceration.
All right. Well, that is front page news. Now, Tez, we see you in a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you're upset, you need to vent, call us up right now. Let us know how your 3-day weekend was, what you did. I mean, I was out in Aruba one day, then I flew to DR, Dominican Republic, and then I was out in Memphis for a couple days. I was all over the place. So let us know what you did this weekend. 800-585-1051. Get it off your chest. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. Jess Hilarious is here, our co-host.
I surely am.
And let's get in some front page news. Tesla Figaro, good morning.
Good morning, DJ Envy, and congratulations on your car show. It's all about community change over internet clicks. So congratulations and good morning, Jess, the queen of the Breakfast Club. And I guess Charlamagne the God, I guess he's here as well.
I used to be the queen of the show.
Right.
I still am, depending on who you
your
ask.
queen spot.
Well, let's get right into sports, all right? The Heat beat the Celtics last night, 103-84. They continue on. They will be playing the Nuggets this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. So congratulations to the Miami Heat. That boy Jimmy Butler getting busy.
I mean, the whole Heat, man, he got a world-class organization. I always wonder how come more people don't want to go play in Miami. I wonder why. I feel like that would be a great destination spot because they got such a great organization and it's the city of Miami.
Right.
You can still get in a lot of trouble in Miami, too.
That is very true.
That is true.
The cocaine's still kind of pure out there.
What? Now, Tez, let's jump right into it. We got to start off with Biden. What's going on with Biden?
Yeah, Biden and McCarthy reached a deal to avoid default. So over Memorial Day weekend, top negotiators for President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy were working to finalize the details of a measure that, if passed, would avoid a historic government default and raise the nation's debt ceiling. Now, House lawmakers have 72 hours to review the 99-page bill before they plan a vote in the chamber. So 72 hours, that's going to be Wednesday. We should start hearing, what they think about the bill, actually reading the text. McCarthy and Biden praised the bill as a framework that should gain bipartisan support. Many lawmakers are waiting to review it in order to make a decision on whether they're supported, which is smart. But both McCarthy and Biden urged Congress to pass it. But progressives are saying, hold up, we want to read it first before we decide if we are in support.
Now, why are progressives saying Biden should worry about them not supporting the deal? And by the way, I don't believe none of them progressives when they say they won't support it.
Absolutely. We know it at the end of the day that they'll end up supporting it. So, one of the things that's important is to continue to push, as they say, is, like I say, push the line, but to get them to try to do some negotiation. But you're right, Charlamagne. A lot of people have criticized progressives for being a lot of talk and no action. But Representative John Paul did say on Sunday that they should worry and that they should be concerned that they're going to look at it before they just say yes or no. And one of the issues that they're having is the food stamp recipient debate. So they are saying that it is terrible policy to add any additional work requirements. And of course, Republicans are saying that it's not enough work requirements, but we're going to see on Wednesday what it actually looks like.
But what is it about the requirements that they don't like for the food stamps? What is it about?
Yeah, in short, anytime we have this SNAP program debate, there's always, a debate on this, on whether able-bodied people, I want to be clear about this because it's always, the issue comes down to able-bodied people. So this particular negotiation they were able to reach, again, we're going to see what the text says, but the good thing is it does give more access to food stamps for veterans, homeless people, young adults transitioning out of foster care, but the work requirement for able-bodied adults will increase from 50 to 54. Republicans say it's not enough on the work requirements, and progressives are saying that it's too harsh because work requirements have very little impact on actually being employed. So again, once the text is released, I hope to be covering a story again on Thursday as we get the information.
How you gonna tell me I can't have food stamps though? Like, you don't know what my living situation is, right? Like, I might be making just enough money to pay
survive.
my rent and pay for my kids' babysitter or whatever. I might need these food stamps.
Yep.
Right.
So
Food is so damn
and so the
expensive
argument
now.
is it
Groceries
should
are
be
so
a certain
expensive.
amount of hours that you either go to training or go to work if you're able-bodied. So when we look at it, and the debate is, will disabled people still get their food stamps? The answer is hopefully yes. So Democrats are saying, hey, you guys folded with Republicans, and Republicans, of course, saying they folded with Democrats. So we're going to see what it looks like on Thursday. See a little bit of gang banging this week, in the House. We'll see how it works.
I always took food stamps for granted, man, because when I used to sell crack, like people would would bring like food stamps, or they'll let you use their EBT card. You know what I'm saying?
This conversation's not for you, sir.
We used to go get stupid stuff like stuff for cookouts. You know what I'm saying?
So this
Crab
is why
legs.
they have a
this is why they
problem with
have
the
this
work
problem,
requirements right now.
You're the problem, sir.
and they're watching this
was
right
20
now.
plus
So
years
great.
ago.
Yeah, but
It
why
don't
bring it
matter.
up now? Because you were using food stamps wrong, sir.
Well, I took them for granted. Is
And
what I was
people
saying.
look up to you every day. I don't know why, but they do. So now.
Now let's talk about black drivers and police officers' first 45 words when they actually see a black driver.
Nigga,
Yeah,
nigga,
this was
nigga,
a
nigga,
great
nigga, nigga,
report.
nigga,
Very
nigga,
interesting.
nigga,
I
nigga,
hope, I hope the listener, only here on the Breakfast Club, I hope the listeners really dig into this because it's really interesting. But what they found is that when black drivers are pulled over, the first 45 words has everything to do with the likely outcome. Now, when police officers pull over these black drivers, they said that these words hold important clues on how the encounter will likely go. A new study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences examined police body camera footage of 577 routine car stops involving black drivers. Now, 81 of these stops ultimately involved searches, handcuffs, or arrests. And it was the kind of outcome that was less likely when a police officer's first words provided a reason for the stop opposed to an order.
Well, the first words are usually license and registration, right?
That's what I thought they
No.
were. And then it was
Absolutely is not. And in fact, the report shows that when an officer gives a reason for the stop opposed to an order, like keep your hands on the wheel, turn the car off. If they say, hey, you know, my reason for stopping you was you were speeding, and then license and registration, Charlamagne, like give the reason first. So they found in this report that when there's orders given first, the stop is 3 times more likely to result in handcuffing or arrest. And another point I want to point out, they asked 188 black men to listen to these recordings, to just listen, and listening to the open moments. And when they listened, these black men were worried that the possibility of force was going to happen at 80% of the time of just listening to the recording of issuing a command. And so it's very interesting how they dig into this. And another point I want to bring up, 15% of black drivers experienced an escalated outcome, such as handcuffing or arrest, while less than 1% of white drivers experienced one of those outcomes. And one other thing I want to say on this report, they actually looked at George Floyd and they analyzed the first 27 seconds of the interaction between him and the police officer. And Floyd requests the reason for the stop multiple times. He even, pleads, begs, and it showed that from the beginning, police officers issued commands without giving him an explanation for the stop. So really good report, guys. I hope people kind of look into it. It's really
I always
good.
wondered that. I always wonder when you get pulled over, why they never tell you why at first. Like,
Because we black.
Right.
When they like pull it over, I'm pulling you over for tents, or I'm pulling you over because
Yeah.
your license is suspended. I'm pulling you over because you were speeding. I'm pulling you over because you did an illegal lane change. Why there's always license registration? And the first person we're like, well, why are you pulling me over?
Right.
Give me your license at first. I'm like, no, I just really want to know, why are you pulling me over? Like, I never understood why they didn't start with, I'm pulling you over because you were speeding.
Until Tez said that story just now, I never knew that wasn't the norm. Because I always think that
They're
that's
supposed to tell you?
yeah. I never expected for them to
license
tell
and
me.
registration.
Yeah.
Oh.
I always expect to have to ask, why am I being pulled over? I always have to ask that, why am I being pulled over, officer?
Wow.
But see, even you, it was your natural thing to say license and registration. But see, that's not how it works according to
Right.
this report. When you're asking people who are not black, the first thing they come and say is, put your hand on the wheel. Make sure I have hands, I can see you. They don't ask even license and registration. It should be, I pulled you over, sir. Hello, sir. Good evening. I pulled you over for speeding. Can I see your license and registration? Because even then, that's still a command or an order.
Man,
That is what this report is breaking down.
No, that's so interesting because when police pull us over, I got my hands on the
Anyway.
steering wheel. I got my window
Right.
down. I don't want no sudden movements. I'm like, you don't have to tell me to do all that.
Yeah.
Because I'm already thinking I need to do all that because I don't want the encounter to go left.
I'm the same way. When I get pulled over, first and foremost, if I'm in a SUV, the windows in the back are always tinted, right? So I roll down the windows first, right? Because I'm like, I don't want them to feel like I got something tricky in the back seat, right?
But then they confused when they see you because they're like, I don't know if you're white. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's...
Then I
So
always turn on the lights in the car if it's nighttime. I always turn the lights off in the car. The car is off and my hands are on the wheel. You know what I mean? In plain sight. So I don't, that's usually what it is with me.
And I want to say this because I know people, they love, especially over the weekend, talking about George Floyd the last week, bumping up a lot of those white supremacist talking points. But again, they analyzed the first 27 seconds of Floyd's encounter, and the report found that Floyd apologized to the officers while they stood outside the car window. He requests, asking, what is the reason for the stop? Damn. He pleads, he explains, he follows the orders, he expresses fear. So every last thing that was said to Floyd was an order, never the reason for the stop. Well, I want to say never, but not in the first 45 words, the reason for the stop. So this is and there's a couple other cases that they examine as well. I hope the family goes and looks at this report. You can find it on npr.org.
I feel like they always tell us after they run our license and stuff. When they run our license and see that we clean, then they come back and they be like, well, the reason I stopped you was because you had a roasted tail light.
That's crazy. I only got not locked up. I only got pulled over like twice. Yeah, twice in my life. And they have always told me why. Both were white cops, a woman and a man. Yep.
They told you immediately?
Also told, yep.
Wow.
Or I got asked by one. I got asked, do you know why I'm pulling you over?
Yeah,
or they'll be like, you were going, the guy just said, you were doing
80 and a 40.
You know what I mean? That's not what I was doing, but that's, you know what I mean? That, he gave me the reason. So I haven't had to deal with that, but
And even to add, that's a dumb one. You know why I'm pulling? Oh yeah, they were pulling me over because I was speeding. Like, what are you? Yeah. This is not a question and answer. Tell me why. you're pulling me over, and then ask for license and registration.
I was so scared. I just was like, I know why. I ain't about to be like, no.
Did he let you keep your weed, Jess?
Did they? I wasn't smoking at that time.
Oh,
look. Whatever. No, it's just that I was speeding, and the cop just asked me like, "Yeah, you know why I pulled you over?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was speeding, but I was only speeding because I didn't see you." So, boom.
And just one last point, again, Charlamagne, when we talk about mental health, think about the anxiety. These black men just listen. They didn't watch it to see, if the person looked suspicious or if the person was there. Just black men listening to the commands. Their anxiety went high enough to say, something bad is about to happen. And that's what I found really deep about this, that just listening to the audio alone, black men said, hey, 80% of chance this is going to escalate into something. I thought that was really deep.
Having this conversation alone, last time I got pulled over was on the way to work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 5 a.m. on them back roads in Jersey, and it was dark out. I already got my wife on the phone, on speakerphone, just in case. You know what I mean? Like that's where your mind goes when you're a black man and you get pulled over.
Well, I do that all the time anyway. If I ever get pulled over, I put somebody on speaker. It's usually my pops or my wife, either or. Put them on just so they can hear the conversation, what happened.
And sometimes you be thinking, sadly, this might be the last time I talk to my significant other.
Yeah.
Sadly.
That's right.
Well, let's open up the phone lines. Let's have that discussion this morning. 800-585-1051. Let's talk about getting pulled over. Let's talk about the anxiety. Let's talk about, how has, when they pulled you over, how has it been for you? Do you feel like they tell you what's going on, or do you feel like you have to ask and argue? Let's talk about it.
Because I never thought about it till just now, because I really feel like they don't never tell us until after they run our license and registration.
It's no reason to feel like it. This report confirms it.
You're right.
So that's the great thing about having reports. It confirms the data shows that they do not tell us more opposed to white people that they say actually give the reason.
Let's talk about it.
All right. 800-585-1051. Tez, thank you so much. It's The Breakfast Club on BET.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.